Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. In today's video, I'm going to be showing you how to sample in Ableton. Now, sampling might sound a bit complex, but trust me, it's easier than you think, and I'm going to walk you through it. So, first things first, I'm going to show you my favorite place to get samples, which is none other than Archive.org. So let me switch my screen right now and show you exactly what it is. So first, go to your browser, type archive, and then click on the first link. Here's archive.org. Now, essentially what archive.org is, if you don't really know, it's basically a giant collection of everything, in a way. There's images, software, videos, whatever. So it's kind of a way to, if there's an old game or an old movie or something that has been taken off the internet, you could probably find it on here. It's like archiving old stuff and sometimes new stuff. And, of course, there's certain levels of it's used for piracy. But in general, it's just there's a lot of stuff on here from different eras. And today, we're going to be in the audio section. So click on audio on the top and then go to all audio. Now, this is the first place that will be. So there's a lot of different audio in here. And you may be like, okay, there's too much stuff. What do I do? Well, look here. There's soundtracks. There's Grateful Dead. Maybe you could go in there. No, because that's Grateful Dead. You don't want to steal their stuff. Serums, religion, podcasts. No. You want to go to Folk Sound of Me, which is a library of sound. And this is the section that you generally want to be in. And I want to give credit to, I don't remember the person's name, but I saw a comment on Reddit about this technique, and I really like it. So I've been using it since any time I need to, sample. So once we're here, we're going to want to go into Crate Diggers, but you could go into any of these. The important thing to note is that when sampling, you have to make sure you check out the laws and, the copyright of whatever sample you're using. There's, of course, cases for free use, but you should do your own research on that because I am not going to be the best person to give you that information. But in general, if you're sampling for the sheer fun of it and you're not going to make any money from it, and even not posting it sometimes, because posting it sometimes violates. If you just, are making a fun little track that just stays on your hard drive, you should be fine. No problems there. But we're going to go into Crate Diggers here. And in here, we're going to pick a sample. It could be whatever. And for the purposes of this, I will pick a sample. But I don't really know. There's a lot of stuff in here that is like not English. And there's a lot of stuff that's like actual albums that have already been released. So you don't want to do those. But like some things are fine. So I'm just going to pick this one. And I didn't get here on accident. I already have this sample downloaded onto my desktop. So now let's open up Ableton here, which just to show you from the top on a very new file, let's open up Ableton. Once you have your sample, it's pretty simple. You download it. So you scroll down here, you do MP3, and then you click on Final Destination Extended Version or whatever the name of your sample is. Then have the sample, then save page as. That'll give you the right thing. It says it already exists. Replace, sure. Then we can close here. So now Ableton's open. I'm going to full screen and open up File Explorer to downloads. And then we're going to just drag it in. It doesn't really matter, but let's do it right there. So first things it's going to do is it's going to load in the full entire sample. And then once it takes a little bit to load in, you can play it. And then it's playing. Now, I'm going to start with the easiest technique on how to sample. This one is very simple and anyone can do it. Then I'm going to go to a more difficult, complex one. So at the beginning, what we're going to use is the simpler. There's also the sampler, but we're not going to go talking about that because that's The sampler is more so just a single sample, and you're not really doing anything to it besides like reverse. So we're not using the sampler. But the simpler is very powerful. Okay, so now that we have the sound dragged in, if I press the key on my push, which is turned on to my right here, it will start playing. And then let's play a lower note just so you can hear what happens. The pitch and the speed are slower. And the reason that is because basically we're just telling Ableton, hey, put this sample into every note on the keyboard, and then depending on each note, change the pitch. So low notes will do lower things, high notes will do higher things, like this. There you go. So now, what we've done is we've dragged the sample in, and we're ready to start editing it. And we're not going to do any editing yet, because that'll be technique number 2 for sampling. What we're going to do is click on slice here, and we have this fairly large sample, so nothing's really going to happen. It's still going to kind of do the same stuff as before. I mean, it's cutting it up for sure, but it's only cutting up this very small section. And this is one reason why this technique is not as good as the second technique, because it kind of limits you, but it's easier to work with. But right now, the things all you really need to know is we're not going to talk about all these settings and all this stuff. You can get into there if you want. This is all that really matters. Slice by and sensitivity. Okay, just wanted to pop in here. I know it's a different file and all that, but I want to explain. Slice by basically just like it means what kind of slicing you're doing. So transients, we'll just look at all the transients and we'll slice by the sensitivity of whatever you set. Beat is just going to do by normal beat, so like your time signature kind of deal. So if it's like 1/4, then it's just going to do it by every 4th beat. And then, depends on what you set it. So you can set bars, you can set it to 1/16, which is much more. Region is, again, it's just pretty simple. It's just what region. So it's just going to split the whole entire sample by regions. So if I shrink it down, it'll always be equal and cut in half. So if there's 2 regions, it's region 1 and region 2. And I'll just play the whole thing. And then last but not least is manual, which is something we'll talk about in a moment. So right now we have transients, and if we change the sensitivity, that'll change what it's slicing by. So each blue line is another slice. If I press key, it's slicing. What we want to do is switch it to beat. I like beat, but region also works. And then manual also works. But manual is one where you have to do it yourself, and it's just not as good because the technique 2 we're going to use is literally manual, but better. So now we're going to go let's do beat, and let's change the subdivision to 1/16. Very rapid. Now if we zoom in to this section, so this is really like doing this much. So when we're splicing it by beat, we're just doing a division of 1/16. And the reason it's only cutting this section is because that's what I've told it to do. All right, sorry to cut it again. I'm very new to this editing thing, so this is my first try on everything. But I want to say that what I'm trying to say is that all of these lines are a section on my push. Well, technically they're a key if you want to think about it that way. So if I press something, you hear the noise come out. And that means that if I go in here, we can put out compositions, and this is why I like the simpler method a lot versus method 2, which we'll go over later, is because I can just input the notes, and then if I press play, Now we have a loop. Now we have a loop. And with this technique, it makes it really easy to just type things in, type in all the notes you want, and now you already have a composition. But for the purposes of this, let's say you want to go all in and do it correctly. Here's what we're going to do. We're going to drag our sample here, and we're going to do what almost everyone who does Ableton knows how to do, which is slice and split. So we've split our sample so it starts faster. And then now we're just going to cut a section here, for instance. And then I'm going to copy this and be like, I like this sound. Maybe this is a loop. Here you go. Sounds kind of interesting. Now, see what I just did there is I sampled. I took a sample, I cut it, and then I just duplicated it 4 times to make a composition. You know, it's not a full thing, of course, but this is the basic idea of sampling. And I'm not going to go, spend hours going into details about, here's how to put effects on the samples. That's a whole nother bag. The point of this video is just to show you that it is really easy to drag stuff into Ableton through the simpler or through, splicing and sample. The other steps are, the song production process. So that's not really sampling based, but that's more just like, then how do you take the samples and turn it into something interesting? And that is something that is totally up to you to figure out, because there's no science. This is more the tutorial of here's how to do the thing, and then your job is to apply it. So for this video, I'm going to end it off here with this, which is your challenge, your challenge for today is to sample something. Any song, doesn't matter. If you're going to post it and send it to me, which I will soon have a Discord open so that we can do that without having much issues about, copyright, because it's just like sharing between us. Find a sample, check the copyrightiness of it. If you're going to use it, make sure you attribute it in the description of your video and just tag me in the video with, how you're using that sample. So it could be something as simple as this loop. It's very dead simple. Or it could be this beautiful complex song. Whatever. Just tag me in your video. I'll review it. I'll leave you a comment. And maybe you'll subscribe or whatever. But the goal is that it's just another tool that you can use to make interesting music. So, there's complex drum patterns. There's this. And I just want you to practice sampling a little bit, because even if it's not your style, sometimes you got to use sampling. Like, for instance, I'm working on a deep house song just for fun, and I'm kind of like, oh, I need vocals. Sampling. So I hope you guys enjoyed today's video, and I'm hoping that the pacing is better because of my editing. It's not going to be great, but I'm learning. I'm trying to get better at these things. And I also want to say thank you so much for the support that you guys have been giving. It's been amazing. I haven't gotten an infinite number of comments, but the ones I have gotten have been great. And I love you guys. So I will see you guys. I think tomorrow I might do a stream. But because I am who I am, I'm going to give you a time and I'm going to stick to it. So tomorrow, because I don't have class, at 11, I will be live for an hour. And I'm putting that down now. So see you tomorrow at 11 for an hour. All right. Love you guys.